This is one of those products I see pretty much everywhere. It seems like everybody, whether you're a YouTuber or a photographer or a filmmaker or programmer, pretty much everyone who's not a gamer has got one of these. It's the Logitech MX Master 3. Specifically, this is the Mac version, which is basically the same as the other version except for the paint job and the cables that it ships with. The Mac version doesn't come with the USB receiver, but I already had one with my Logitech keyboard and it pairs absolutely fine with that. Now, these retail for somewhere between £70 to £100 or dollars, depending on available sales. I actually picked mine up secondhand on Facebook Marketplace, and it came in as new condition, complete with a box. So it's worth looking on there if you don't mind picking one up that's secondhand. But regardless, that's still a lot of money to spend on a mouse. So is it worth it? Well, first off, it is about as good as it looks. It's about as nicely made as anything can be that is made out of plastic. So if you buy it, I don't think you'll be disappointed with the aesthetics. And it does fit the hand very nicely with all of the buttons easily accessible. And that's the main point of this review really, because when I started to think about whether or not this mouse is actually really worth the money, I realized that I actually do use all of its features every single day. In my review for the Logitech Craft keyboard, you can probably tell that my main annoyance was that the crown or the dial that I'd really bought that keyboard for just hasn't been useful in my everyday workflow. It's turned out to be pretty much purely decorative. But thinking about the MX Master 3, I really have got my money's worth. Now this is the Mac version, as I said, but it works fine with both Windows and Mac. The software features work fine on both systems, and you can easily switch between devices that are running both OSs. And here's a little rundown of how I find this useful every single day. The main buttons on the mouse work as expected. Nothing much to say about them except that the scroll wheel is also a button. That's perhaps a given, but I have used mice where it hasn't worked too well. In this case, there's no problems with it. The fast scrolling, or mag speed electromagnetic scrolling, as Logitech like to call it, is probably my favorite feature. It works really well if you're presented with a really long web page or just loads and loads of data in a spreadsheet, and you can get to the bottom incredibly quickly. Works particularly nicely on lazy loading pages where you can just scroll and then just wait a few seconds for the mouse to do its work and get you eventually to the bottom of all the data that is being hidden by the lazy loading. The horizontal scrolling works really nicely. If you're in Excel and you're scrolling across through the spreadsheet, or you're in a video timeline working your way through, you do have to just go into the settings and make sure that the speed is right for what you're using it, but once you've done that, it works no problem. The forward and back buttons, which are up here just below the horizontal scrolling, I use those for navigating between web pages, going forwards and backwards. I know you can use them for muting yourself or turning off a video when you're in online conference calls. I can't say I've used them for anything like that, but just for going backwards and forwards on web pages, that's something of a non-negotiable for me now. And the last one is the gesture button, which is here at the bottom where your thumb rests. And you can use that, and I do use that, for clicking down and then dragging across either left or right, and that allows you to quickly switch between virtual desktops in Windows or spaces in Mac OS. Now when I say I use all of those features, I really do mean that I use every single one of them every day. And that adds up to a lot of functionality and a lot of saved time. And what's most impressive to me is I actually had to remind myself that I do use them every single day. It's become completely automatic and integrated with my workflow that I don't even have to think about it. So yes, I think it's worth it. If you're interacting with your computer using a mouse every day, then I think this is a no-brainer. I have had a few lagging issues with it, but those are related to the placement of the USB receiver on my desktop PC. It works great via Bluetooth on my other devices, and the button underneath to switch between the devices works flawlessly as well. Battery life on it is brilliant. It's rated to last just over 2 months, and I can't ever remember charging it, so I would say if anything it lasts a little bit longer. I've got no reason to disagree with that. If you're watching this, you're probably trying to decide whether or not to buy one, and I would say go for it. If this one broke, I would go straight out and buy another one tomorrow. Only reason I can think why some people might not want to buy one is because there could be an MX Master 4 on the horizon. Now what they could do to make this significantly better, I don't know, apart from maybe upping the build quality a little bit. But if you want the latest and greatest, then you might be worth holding on for a few months longer, or if you want to try and pick one of these up even cheaper. That being said, I know there are a lot of people still using their MX Master 2 and are very happy with that. Let me know in the comments if you use one of these, or if you have any questions, or you can send me a message on Twitter. But thank you for watching.